Hi guys, welcome back to Bows Fan TV, and today we're back with another video doing the match reaction to last night's 2-0 defeat against Galway United at Eamon DC Park. Yeah, what a massive letdown that was. Yeah, from start to finish we were just bullied. Simple as that. Yeah, bullied all across the park. We went into this game thinking, it's a good opportunity to get back to winning ways. Look, I know we were saying, look, Galway are fighting for something as well, and it's not going to be easy. But when you look at the form they were on before this game, it was a good opportunity to get 3 points, and we obviously didn't. We just didn't turn up. From the off, the game was very physical. Galway were doing what we were expecting them to do, which was play most of the game in the air and try and win the kind of aerial duels and be very direct. And we just couldn't cope with that in the first half. They were winning every header, every second ball they were winning. We really struggled to get into the game. And look, we had a goal disallowed. Quite early on, a corner. Clark flicks it onto the back post. Cornwall's there to head it in. I'm not quite sure why it was disallowed. It didn't look like there was anything wrong with it. I don't know whether I don't know if it was given as a foul or an offside. But yeah, that was quite a bizarre moment. But yeah, we had a goal disallowed, and but after that, I don't think we got forward once. I think we didn't create anything. We didn't work Brendan Clark, and yeah, the game kind of followed in the way that it started with Galway being very physical, very aggressive, and we just couldn't cope with that. And then obviously to get the goal, Higgy just about manages to squeeze it in at the front post, and yeah, I think it was probably deserved. They were much more up for it, and they got the reward for that. And yeah, they fully deserved to be winning going into the break, and then in the second half, nothing really changed. It was more the same. We made a couple of changes at half time. We brought on Colin Whelan and Connor Parsons, and we were hoping that would make a difference, but it didn't. Galway get a penalty then. It's a handball from Niall Moran. And Dave Hurley puts it away, and yeah, that was kind of game over. Really, we knew that we weren't going to get 2 goals just by the way we were playing. And yeah, look, we did take control of possession, but didn't really create anything. Brendan Clark had to make no real big saves. He had a couple of shots that just went straight at him. And yeah, not once did we look like a scored in that second half. And yeah, we stumped with a very, very disappointing 2-0 defeat. And yeah, it's an extremely costly result. Doesn't help that, look, every other result went against us. Drogheda won, Shells won, Pats won, Derry won. So yeah, we're facing a real uphill battle now to try and get a top 4 finish. The next 3 games are absolutely massive now. Monday is an absolute must win. If we lose that game, then we can probably forget about Europe, and that would be a real disaster. 3 league wins since June, it's just not good enough. You're not going to get Europe with that kind of form. And yeah, last night was just a really spineless display. A lot of players out there that just didn't want to know. Like I said, we were just bullied, completely bullied, especially in the first half when they were being very direct, and we just weren't winning any headers, weren't winning any second balls. And yeah, it was a fully deserved 3 points for Galway. And yeah, we look at the way that we set up, with a back 3 again, it just never works. It's never really worked, maybe apart from 1 or 2 games in that kind of little period where we hit a bit of form, after the win in Tala. It's not worked. The wing backs, having McDonald at left wing back, it just doesn't work. We had the ball out wide a lot, but there was no one to aim for in the box. There was no one in the box that was going to win a header against that Galway defence. If we had Douglas James Taylor, maybe, but for whatever reason he wasn't in the squad. It seems like he might be. I think he might have suffered a hamstring injury. That's the talk anyway, and look, that would probably rule him out now for the rest of the season. But it was strange that in the preview before the game they said that it was a full strength team, and we were missing our arguably our main goal threats. So, the substitutions were a bit odd as well. We felt, especially kind of late in the second half when we were chasing the goal. You know, we bring on Lee Kavanagh. I don't know what that's all about. You know, Reece Brennan was on the bench. You know, we brought on Stroud. We brought on, you know, like we said, Whelan and Parsons on at half time. You know, we made a couple of attacking changes, but you know, surely Brennan would have added a little bit of energy, bit of pace. But no, we bring on Lee Kavanagh when we're chasing the goal, which was an odd one anyway. But yeah, there's no doubt about it now. We're in a really tough position. If we let it slip now and we end up finishing sixth, which, you know, if we lose on Monday, that's starting to look like a real possibility, then God, you know, if you thought the reaction from the fans last night after the game was bad, you know, wait till you see what it's like if that does end up happening when we do finish sixth, especially when it was in our hands only a few weeks ago. You know, after that Waterford game, you know, we were in a pretty good position, and yeah, it would just be an absolute disaster. So look, to avoid that happening, we've got to go out on Monday night and get the win. It's last chance now for us. I think if we lose that game, you know, like we said, it's probably, you know, gone from us now, Europe. So yeah, we've got to get the finger out now on Monday night. And look, you know, we're coming up against a bad side off the back of you know, a good win there against Shamrock Rovers. So look, they'll be confident. So yeah, we've really got to improve. You know, in these next three games. Or we probably will have a repeat of 2023 and we'll end up missing out on Europe when it was in our hands. So a very poor display last night. I deserved the fee. And yeah, we just got to get the finger out on Monday night now. So yeah, that's where I'll end it. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, comment down below what you thought about the game, and I'll see you for the preview for the Pats game tomorrow. Bye bye.